Welcome to another great episode of Industrial Sage. Today we're going to be talking with Barbara Vanderwall of Eagle Technologies, and she's going to be walking through us some really great strategies and some tips on how to use data. It's really important. You're not going to want to miss this. And we're here in the fabulous Optimum Production Studio. I'm Danny Gonzalez, and this is Industrial Sage. Okay, all right, well, let's go ahead and jump into this episode. Barbara, thanks so much again for joining us here. And before we get started, could you introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself as well as Eagle Technologies?
Sure. I'm originally from South Africa. I'm qualified in public relations, but die-hard marketing, I mean, you can't go wrong in marketing. So found a love of marketing, been in the industry for about 6.5 years. Mm-hmm. Started working at Eagle Technology when we did arrive in the US about 1.5 years ago. So Eagle Technology, to give a little bit of background there, we focus on computerized maintenance management systems, helping people with demand work orders or any maintenance that needs to be done on facilities. Our biggest industry segment is manufacturing, so it's quite big for us. And usually we can help with inspections like dock locks or anything that they need to maintain, asset and inventory tracking, stuff like that. So we develop the software and we help companies make sure that they're regulated and everything's fine with their maintenance needs. So we do that. We have an energy module and stuff like that that we do add to it. Mm-hmm. So that's just a little bit of what we do, because I'm sure you understand that I can sit here for hours and talk about the product, but we're maintenance software focused.
Excellent. I cannot sit here for hours and talk about. I'm totally playing. I can totally do that. So no, thanks so much for kind of setting that level, that base level for us. So, okay, so on today's topic, we're going to be going over really how to use data and why that's really important. So with Eagle, when you came on board with them, what did that look like for them? As from did they have a database? What was the status of that?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that could be a very loaded question, because a lot of companies are still very stuck on old data, and they just look at their sales numbers and they use that to drive them. So, to be honest, they just had a CRM system that was inundated with old accounts, new accounts, possible leads, and they were just focusing on the numbers of actual revenue coming in, and that was used as a guide to direct their marketing. So it was quite a challenge looking at data for them, because a lot of it was financial data. That was all they had. Okay,
yeah. So what was, so that there was no email list, there was, I mean, I imagine they had customer lists and stuff, but, that was it?
They did, yeah, and they had a lot of email lists, but it's one of those that if you go purchase it, it's dirty. It's a list that you probably get blacklisted for.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't use stuff like that. So let me put it this way. Everything they had stuff. They had stuff, but it was very still traditional focus, and they didn't really focus on where they want to go with it, because they didn't have anything to direct them. So the data was very old. They were looking at old ways of doing purchasing, old lists, mailing lists, financial stuff. So it was just a mess. It was just a mess.
Yeah, and just to set the record straight, when we talk about buying those lists and getting blacklists, if you're listening out there, don't do that. That's not good. That's a really good way of really messing up your domain and screwing up some things. So sorry, I just wanted to set that there, which is what you were definitely saying what they were doing. So not good.
And I think that the big thing that people should keep in mind is, if you do buy these lists, there's so many new security policies and so many new ways that they can literally mark you. So anything you do send, it pulls up a red flag. And a lot of systems like Constant Contact, and even OnePoint, if you want to use a really older, cheaper system, they do have flags for it. So you can't just go in any system anymore and just upload 20,000 names. It's become very, very safeguarded, the method of loading the names and contacts. So, I mean, Excel, everything was there. They had it in folders. It was just, we have this, we can't use it, but where do we go from here? We've got all the stuff, we have the ideas, but we have no method of moving forward.
So what did you do? What did you do? What were the first steps to sort of solve that problem? And I imagine that there's still steps being implemented in there, but what was that first thing that you did?
Well, the first thing we did is we work with a digital marketing agency as well. And the first thing we did with them was, let's look at where we want to go. Because it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, the data didn't matter because it didn't show us, it showed us where we were, but it doesn't show us where we need to be. So basically what we did is we sat down and we did a marketing strategy. And I mean, marketing has become very specialized and everything has become very data driven. So that's what we had to look at is what do we need to know where we're going? And then we moved from there and we went, okay, this is where we are right now. This is the goals. And we actually looked at the sales goals. So then we looked, okay, the sales goals are this. How are we going to help them? So our marketing goals had to align with the sales goals because at the end of the day, your marketing is sales. We try and align our marketing, our sales team a lot with looking at what they currently have in their sales pipeline and the sources where they get them from, because that tells us we're either doing the right thing or we're doing the wrong thing.
Right.
And making sure you're looking at data like that. To give you an example, exactly, this is going to clear it for you, is we were in a marketing, we were on this directory listing us, giving us leads that we paid for. But now we thought they were great because they fit the criteria and it goes to the sales team, but then it doesn't go anywhere from there. So I worked in CRM and we kept on looking at what's happening. The probability of these leads are really low. So why are they so low? And then it furthered a discussion with the sales team. And what actually was happening is the directory company would already do about 7 phone calls or emails to these leads before we even get them. So they will be working these leads, they will be pushing them dead. So by the time you get them, the last thing they even want to talk about is your product, or they feel totally bombarded with phone calls and emails. So looking at that, we were like, okay, so we're spending money on that and it looks really good on paper, but it doesn't go anywhere. So stuff like that, working with sales team, looking at your data and looking at your sources. That was really, really a big thing for us because our data should have shown us concrete results in the campaign with the sales, and it wasn't doing that.
No, that's really awesome that you guys were doing that. I mean, you had that as well, but it's really taking a step back and really making sure having the data is one thing, but then also analyzing it and looking at it. And website traffic, for example, we say, oh, we have all this traffic, it's great. Okay, well, the question is it the right traffic? Are we targeting the right people that we're trying to get, right?
Yeah, and something like an age demographic. Your decision maker is not going to be 18 or 24.
Right.
So it was like, our Google Analytics was like, great, we're here from last year, but then if it's an 18-year-old, what decision making is going to make in the purchasing of the product? So it's a constant thing. Your marketing plan for us it's not supposed to be laid out in stone. It's supposed to be a guide, and you're going to have to change it and review. And again, another example, we had our messaging and we were focusing so much on our bells and whistles that our competitors don't offer. And then we realized that it's not focusing on the consumer's need at all. So the customers didn't need the product because we didn't focus on their needs. We were focusing on what we offer. And that, looking at information, constantly reviewing what you currently have in your system, your data, your information, that gives you a guideline of where you should go.
Absolutely, and you really you hit the nail on the head on a lot of things that we talk about consistently over here, and that really is about when it comes to your marketing, making sure that we're not, to your point, like you said, not talking about all the bells and the whistles and the features and all this. Oh, look, we can do this and they can do that, and let's compare. No, because at the end of the day, your customer has a problem. They've got a challenge. They've got a pain, and we can help solve that. So let's talk about that. Versus, oh, look at this great thing, look at this cup, this is amazing, and it's got the ergonomically designed. Well, if that's not a problem for them, they don't care. Who cares about that? If
they're not thirsty, they don't need a cup.
Exactly, right. No, you're 100% right. So I'm curious about that. How did you determine that? I mean, what was there a moment that you said, hey, we need to look at our messaging, or like what's the story behind that?
So we're currently going into the phase where we need to do our 2018 strategy and reviewing that. And for some reason, we're doing better than we did last year, and our messaging day and night differently, and the way our brand looks, we rebranded, we redid everything looks different. But the level of leads are higher, but it's still the same quality, good quality, but not the best.
Sure.
So we were like, okay, what is it that we're doing differently? And then 2 weeks ago, I was at a trade show, and they were talking about an ad that won an award. It was selling 15,000 bushes of peaches or switching to LED lighting, you choose. And we were like immediately, how on point is that message? Because they immediately put it within the customer's hands and say, you can choose A or B. What do you want to spend money or do you want to save money? What do you want to do with your need? And that's where we were looking at, okay, we need to change as well. And I think that's a really great lesson for anybody. Keep looking at what other people do, even if it's not your industry.
Right.
You're going to pick up something, you're going to learn something that, hey, they're doing that, and it immediately a bulb light goes on and you go, okay, we can do this, we can change as well.
That's awesome, and I think that's great. You're talking about how you had your 2017 marketing strategy. You had a great point there saying that you need to consistently review it. It's a guide, so it's not necessarily something that's set in stone that this is the direction we're going. I mean, there's a certain something to say about being focused, obviously, and say we're going to continue on this, but really having those key points, those times to be able to stop and to analyze and to look at it and say, maybe this isn't the right. That's interesting. I love the fact that you brought in too, having that outside perspective of maybe stuff that's not even going on in your industry per se, and just having an idea of what else is going on, how can we improve over here. And it sounded like that was a great aha moment.
And I think that's it. You need your moments like that, and looking at your previous year, it's going to basically tell you how to act on your findings. It's going to tell you what your data is telling you to do. Where have you gone wrong? And it might even show you how to maintain your segments and your target audience better, because more like we say, it's very specialized and it's changing so much. We've got the industry of IoT. You've got so many things happening right now. Everything's turning smarter and bigger and better. And how do you keep up with that? And the only way you can do that is almost creating a little bit of a checklist for yourself, and your marketing plan should be that. Your marketing plan should be, hey, we've focused on this in the beginning of the year, we're focusing on this, but it's become a threat or a weakness for us instead of a strength. So let's change it. Let's look at where we should be going. And that's what data basically tells you.
And that's great. And again, I love the checklist idea there, because it's very easy for a marketer to say, here's our plan, let's go, go, go. And you get very heads down, because let's be honest, there's a lot going on. I mean, there's a million things, everything's, we got to do this. And for whatever reason, you're always up against deadlines. So it's just, we got to constantly march and beat that drum. And sometimes there's that, we're really busy. We're doing all these things. And, you're just kind of like this versus, you need that time to look up and look around and see where you are. And, are we, oh shoot, we need to be over here. We need to redirect, so. I love it. Yeah. So how do you have a certain a methodology that you would do? That you have a periodic time that you say, okay, every end of the month or whatever, this is what we're gonna do?
I think that the big thing, and it's hard and it's time consuming, but it's worth it, is we have once a week, we have a meeting with the sales team, and then once a week I have a meeting with the digital marketing agency where we have a marketing meeting. Now that allows us the salespeople are right there. They're selling the product. They work with the customers, and needs change. So the messaging will have to as well. And sitting with them saying, you know what, creative people are all over. It doesn't mean because they're in sales they're not creative, because believe me, they're over creative. But here's the thing, if you use that and build on it, you can really, they work with the customers, they know what the challenges and the needs are. So we work with the sales team and they tell us, we're way off, or, I got feedback, stuff like that. And it works. And then we take that and we have a meeting with our digital agency. Now, you hear a lot of people having some pitfalls with agencies and stuff, and I'm really sorry that they experienced that, because so far I feel agencies have an array of knowledge. They have all the different industries, they have they've walked the walk, they've talked the talk, and they can help you build on what you currently have. And that's our experience with our agency that we had so far. It's hard to keep up, and if you have an outsider,
yeah,
it helps.
No, absolutely. And a lot of great things in there, what you just said there. I mean, the first thing that I absolutely love, because I think we need to see more of this, and that is, you said you have a weekly meeting with not just your digital marketing team, but also your sales team to get an understanding of what their needs are. They've got their ears to the ground. They know what the challenges their customers have, and so it's way too often that marketing and sales are siloed. They're not talking to each other. And sales gets all mad at marketing because why are they doing this? I don't understand. Well, they're doing that because, they think that's what's best. But if you don't have your ear to the ground, you don't have an understanding of what's going on. How are you going to be able to, produce marketing collateral that's on point and on message?
Yeah, and I think it's really, so if for like today, my day started with looking at the sales numbers for the last year, because that tells me our recurring revenue comparing to our new revenue, where it came from. It tells me which campaigns have been really working. It tells us to focus on key account marketing even more than we are right now, because that gives you the whole direction of what your campaign should be and what your marketing strategy should be. So sales in my department, it's very important. My team knows that we're very sales focused because everybody in your whole organization is actually a sales representative. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
Why not include them into the marketing team?
Exactly. Absolutely. So, one question I want to ask, as far as measuring the data and looking at what different tools are you using for that?
So we do quite use a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot out there, but stuff that really helps us with, we've got all the social media platforms. We look at them individually as well, because here's the problem. If you have too much, you don't know what to trust anymore.
That's true, yeah.
So we have one person that's dedicated once a week to just go and pull data for us from individual platforms. But then we do have Google Analytics. We plug in fast-paced Twit to give us that visitors details, and then we look at each platform has everything is data driven. So you can look at each platform. So Constant Contact gives us exactly who opened it, when did they open, what did they look on, was it their desktop, their mobile, stuff like that. So it also tells us, if you do focus on stuff individually, it tells you individually what the messaging for that platform should be.
Right. I know that's a big challenge of that everyone's marketing stack. We got 20 different softwares that we're using, and it's very difficult. Do you guys, I'm just curious here, do you guys, you mentioned you analyze them individually, obviously, but do you like bring them all together at all and like mishmash, or are we just kind of, looking at each area?
We do, at the end of the day, we do try and mishmash them, because it's a lot of work.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've only, to be honest, in the last 6 months really pushed for data to start looking at because we knew 2018s are on the corner, and we had to start looking at what our messaging is going to be.
Yes.
So I think, to be honest to you, we take it step by step. We take it day by day. We have to look at the campaigns we use, and that determines what metrics we put together. So if we focus, because we're very different segments that we work in, if, let's say, for instance, manufacturing, I'm going to look at specific age groups, specific roles. There's a lot of specific data I'm going to use, and then I throw everything together to tell me where I need to go with that. So it depends totally on the segment, on the campaign, everything that we use.
No, absolutely. So what would you tell a company then that is watching this or listening, maybe if they're listening on iTunes, and they're saying, gosh, we were definitely, in the same boat, or man, we don't have anything. We don't even have a CRM. They're out there. What were the, couple key steps that you would tell them that, hey, look at this?
I would definitely go get fast-paced to work with you in your Google Analytics, because you don't just get the person that visit your site, you get the whole company's information from there. So you can start building a proper emailing list that you can put, because then you can target your messaging more to that specific industry that visited your website. It shows you a lot more. It's a little bit more legwork, but you can get a lot more quality from it. And then you plug it into your emailing distribution list under specific segments. And then I would also say, if you don't have a CRM system, get one as soon as possible, because not only does it tell you where you don't when the leads leave the marketing department, where do they go? What happens with them?
Mm-hmm.
Every day I come in and I can exactly see what's happening in the sales pipeline. I can exactly see which leads are pulling through the cracks, which aren't. And I can see stuff that I don't usually have control over. I don't know how many people usually called into the office. I didn't know how many people were directly emailed.
Mm-hmm.
And that all counts as leads. It all counts. They came from somewhere, and where did they come from? So it gives you access to that. And you can always go, like, we're a Microsoft partner. It's not that much to annually buy that. And they give you a lot of tools that's
Mm-hmm.
included in the partnership. So you can find a lot of offers like that, where you basically become part of something and look at the offerings they do give you, because we're a small to medium company. We don't have the budget to go and buy every software that's around to give us information.
Right.
But if you use a platform that does offer more than just one product or more than one offering, then you can utilize that to build on your data.
No, this is great. Absolutely. Again, definitely. If you're a lot of companies, if you're not using CRM, definitely use it. And I think, but the other thing too is, maybe analyze and look at, what platforms you have, what do you have. Let's just sit and analyze and look at that. You said that very early on too. That let's just look at let's look at where we came from. Let's analyze that, and then let's point our compass and figure out where we want to go, and then we adjust and we go from there. So. Excellent.
And I think that it does help, because I know our website and our webinars are two of our main sources, because I can keep tracking that. I can see it coming in through CRM. You can do emailing marketing campaigns through there as well. We have already so many other platforms that I don't want to cross-function into even more, because it's more tracking and more organizing. And I think that's a thing with everything evolutionizing and everything that we're growing. You need to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So if you can have something that gives you what you need to make concrete solutions and give you concrete direction, then work with it. Stick with the basics. The way we do things are changing, but what we use can stay the same, as long as it brings a result that you need to show that you're growing.
Absolutely, yeah. Not a whole lot has changed in marketing in terms of like how it works. It's just maybe the mediums on how it actually gets distributed, right?
Yeah, so. I think that's it. It's again, you have to revise constantly. You have to revise every time. It's one moment we're focusing so on manufacturing, and then all of a sudden we have, for some reason, a really big boom in partnerships. And then we just signed 3 new partners in the last month. And it's at the end of the day, it's like it's gonna constantly change, and you need to know how to keep up to date with it.
And you're going to be able to do that with data, right? You got to stay on top of it with data. There we go.
Exactly that. If you look at it, any industry, doesn't matter which industry you are in, doesn't matter what you sell. At the end of the day, nobody's going to say, "Hey, show me your product" or "Show me your faults." They're going to say, "Give me your data. Show me what you have. Show me the numbers. Show me." That's what bosses are asking for. That's what senior level wants to see. They don't want to see excuses. They don't want to see the platforms you're using. They want to see the results.
Yeah, because it's really hard to change what you can't measure, right?
Exactly that, yeah. We're a firm believer here that you can't manage what you don't measure.
Exactly. Well, Barbara, I really appreciate the time. This has been a fantastic conversation. I know we've covered a lot. There's a lot of great information that you give us, some real great, really some tips and some things to think about. If there's any other questions that somebody might want to reach out to you, is there somewhere where they can get you on a Twitter handle or email or something?
Yeah, they can. I'm available on Barbara VDW in Twitter. My name is Barbara Vanderwalt. I'm really active on social media, so you're more than welcome to find me there, or you can shoot me an email directly at barbarav@eaglecmms.com. Again, barbarav@eaglecmms.com. I'm always available. We're all very busy, but I mean, collaborative, it helps us grow. But we can share some more information and ideas.
Excellent. Well, Barbara, again, thanks so much. It was fantastic having you on here and join us on IndustrialSage.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, excellent. So, all right, so to recap, this was just an absolutely fantastic, again, another fantastic episode with Barbara. And she, there's some really key points. There's a lot, the things that I've shortlisted on here, some really big ones. they're going to be familiar. You've heard them before. But really, one of those things is talking with sales, not having it siloed. Get an understanding of what is going on with their customers, your customers. What are the challenges they have, and really work that way. Another thing was, let's not look forward down, and keep our head down and not look up and analyze from the marketing plan that we put together a year ago or 6 months ago or however long. Make sure you have those times, those checkpoints, using a checklist to kind of look up and assess where you are, and maybe we need to make those course corrections, those adjustments, and doing that. And really, the last big piece, obviously the whole topic on data, making sure that you're using the data that you have. If you don't have the right systems, make sure you start looking to implement those in, but then really analyze that data. That's really going to unlock a lot of information for you to help you there. So again, hope you liked and you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we're going to be here again next week with another fantastic episode on all things marketing and digital marketing. Please make sure that you share this. If you share it with people, like it, subscribe, do all the good things. If you're listening on iTunes, we'd love a review. So until next week, thanks for watching. I'm Danny Gonzalez, and this is Industrial Sage.